sinners come in all shapes and sizes. Some of the most lethal creatures on Earth are motivated by sinful behavior. Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride. Gluttony. In the jungles of Central and South America lurks an overeater from your worst nightmares. The vampire bat. Vampire bats live up to legend. They dwell in caves, sleep during the day, and although they have 20 teeth, they use just 2 oversized incisors to feed on prey. While other bats eat fruit or insects, vampire bats live only on blood. A lot of blood. The sun has set on this rural village. And in a cave nearby, hundreds of these hungry sanguivores are waking up. First thing, find a bloody meal. One spots a savory target. He approaches without making a sound. Then, using a heat-sensing organ on his face, called a noseleaf, he targets a perfect victim flush with blood. A human. His incisors are so sharp, the man feels no pain. The bat utilizes some ingenious natural tools. Anticoagulants in his saliva cause the wound to bleed profusely. And hairs on the bat's chin sense for the slightest stirring of his victim, an early warning system if they wake up. Now, he just drinks, and drinks, and drinks. By the time he's finished, our glutton has drunk nearly half his body weight in blood. While a vampire bat bite can be lethal, they prefer to keep their victims alive. After all, they will need to eat again tomorrow night. But for some gluttons, to get the best meal, it's all about the kill. One of the most deadly animals in the ocean is also the most gluttonous. The idea of dozens of lethal, hungry stomachs gobbling up everything in their path may sound like the plot to a bad science fiction movie. But it's real. It's called a box jellyfish, specifically the species Chironex fleckeri. Chironex means hands of death. They've been terrorizing the tropical waters off Australia for over a century. With no brain, the box jelly is still able to actively swim. Unlike other jellies that simply float on the water. This allows him to hunt for food because the box jelly likes to eat. You see, its snake-like tentacles each contain a separate stomach. With up to 60 tentacles as long as 6 feet, that's 360 feet of stomach. To satisfy their hunger, they kill. So effectively, it can take just 5 minutes to kill a human. And if you're a fish, it's even worse. The jelly drags its tentacles through the water, trawling along for a meal. On each tentacle are thousands of tiny stinging cells, called nematocysts. When an unlucky fish makes contact, the nematocysts inject the fish with a powerful poison within 3 milliseconds, or 10 times faster than an airbag deploys in a car crash. The poison stuns and kills. And now, the stomachs can get to work devouring. It's an efficient method of digestion, allowing the deadly glutton to continually eat. Exactly what it was built for. For the box jellyfish, food often comes to him. But some predators work harder. This is a tiger shark. Named for the cat-like stripes, tiger sharks have a diet that can only be described as all-consuming. They're perhaps most notorious for chowing down on human flesh. But they will eat anything, from whales to dogs to garbage. Even 16th century suits of armor have been found in their stomachs. The tiger shark mostly search for prey in shallow seagrass, utilizing excellent eyesight, a supreme sense of smell, and an amazing ability to detect electrical impulses in the water. A sort of sonar for gluttons. And once the tiger shark has found his prey, he digs in for a bloody feast. On the menu today, turtle. The shark has razor-sharp teeth, which he first uses to grab the turtle. Then, like a giant curved saw, he moves his mouth in a rolling motion to hack away at the limb. But the leg is only the beginning. When the meal is over, there's nothing left but one very satisfied glutton. As sinful as our overeaters may be, their fury has a purpose. The same cannot necessarily be said for this next group of sinners. This is rage. Raw, powerful rage. And it is not pretty. Wrath. When we think of scary marine creatures, Flipper certainly doesn't come to mind. But he should, because the much-loved dolphin has some seriously sadistic tendencies. Don't be fooled by that smile. It's hiding a deep-seated rage. Dolphins are skilled predators, routinely killing for food. But they save the most wrathful behavior for each other. For some reason, bottlenose dolphins have a serious beef with their cousins, the spotted dolphin. Watch as this group of bottlenose surrounds a young spotted dolphin. This is not play. They taunt. They push. This is aggression. It has nothing to do with food. The only thing that saves the pup is the arrival of some adult spotted dolphins. Fighting off their cousins. And allowing for an escape. It's no surprise some people have started to call dolphins the psychopaths of the sea. But these deadly dolphins are only the beginning. And when there is a full plate of wrath on the menu, just get out of the way. Of all the deadly sins, wrath is the most terrifying to witness. It's an uncontrollable, raging thirst for blood. These animals are on the warpath. There are few animals with the word killer in their name. So when you meet one, time to take notice. These 20,000-pound leviathans are at the top of the marine mammal food chain. And when it comes to wrath, killer whales, also known as orcas, take it to a whole new level. It's not like they are born angry. In fact, orcas are highly sociable creatures with each other. They roam the deep in pods, family units up to about 40 whales each, communicating and cooperating with each other as they move. It's the rest of the underwater kingdom they have a problem with. This ocean ain't big enough for orcas and any other animal. Like the Hells Angels of the deep, killer whales will stroll into a hunting ground to make their menacing presence known, washing seals off ice floes and aggressively attacking fish. But their boldest display of wrath comes once every year when they hunt sea lions on the beaches of Argentina. They sit just offshore, using echolocation, emitting sound waves that travel through water to communicate with each other. Then, with explosive thrust from their massive tail, the killer whales launch themselves clean out of the water to grab pups from the waves. And then things just get cruel. The orcas get down to playing a sadistic game in the animal kingdom. Sea lion tennis. Some think this might be to kill the pups, or just a game of deadly aggression. Either way, the result is the same: a lethal display of power, performance, and wrath. Don't be fooled by its size. The Australian magpie is one seriously angry bird. In fact, its black and white appearance and ridiculously wrathful behavior has earned this bird the nickname Sky Orca. What sets the magpies off is a perceived threat to their nesting territory. Sounds sensible enough. But the issue is, their territories span up to 300 feet around their nest. And in Australia, those nests are nearly everywhere. This is why up to a remarkable 90% of Australians report being the victim of a magpie attack. And it's straight out of a Hitchcock movie. The magpie will unleash attack after attack. The goal? Peck and claw at your head until you leave. No one has learned this lesson more painfully than Aussie cyclists. Because they move faster and appear larger than pedestrians, cyclists appear a bigger threat and piss off the magpie more than most. Of course, the best way to avoid a magpie attack is to avoid their territory altogether. Trouble is, in Australia, that's easier said than done. Wrath is scary. There's no hiding the rage. But for some creatures, deadly sin is cloaked in some serious sloth. In our world, sloth is easy to spot. It's normally lying on the couch in its underwear, watching TV. In nature, same goes. The shiftless are shameless. Sloth. It's the sin of inactivity, but in the wild, the slothful can also be deadly. No one proves this better than the crocodile. This cold-blooded reptile is a top predator with the ability to attack and kill almost any animal in its habitat. And yet, for the majority of its daily life, the crocodile doesn't do much. Because it doesn't have to. These 80-million-year-old creatures have a very slow metabolism. Their massive bodies store food and energy for months. In fact, crocs only eat about 50 full meals a year. And in extreme circumstances, can last that long without eating at all. It's a lazy, slothful life. There is, of course, one exception, the once-a-week feeding time. But even for that, crocs try to expend as little energy as possible. As ambush predators, they use camouflage to lie unseen for hours. When they spot prey, they slowly inch forward. Then they unleash. Some croc species bite down with the strongest bite force of any animal on Earth. Up to 3,700 pounds per square inch. With prey in their jaws, they begin the second phase of attack, their infamous death roll. The croc holds its bite on its victim and flips itself over again and again. The prey usually dies by drowning. But like any experienced assassin, the crocodile is efficient. The death roll has another purpose. The violent twisting and turning of the prey loosens limbs and makes it easier to dismantle the body. Because when you're a sloth, even a vicious killer sloth, you don't want to work too hard. in tropical Pacific waters, it's hard to find a deadlier creature this slow. This is not a rock. This is a stonefish. This is what it does for the majority of its life. Sit. But it's the stonefish's slothfulness that makes it so deadly to its prey. Dozens of fish swim by, mistaking her for a piece of coral or the ocean floor. But when one tasty-looking fish swims too close, she moves just once to swallow it whole. Its strategy is not just for offense. It's also key to the stonefish's deadly defense mechanism. When threatened, the stonefish unlocks 13 venomous spines on its back. Pressure on the spines releases the potent neurotoxin. Irregular breathing, muscle weakness, and paralysis are the results. Without quick treatment, the sting is fatal to humans. The message from the stonefish is clear. Don't be fooled by the sloth. While the sloth keeps his lethal qualities under wraps, our next group of killers are loud and lethal and greedy. To some in the animal kingdom, the seas and skies are a shared bounty, where each creature exists to use just what is needed. And then, there are these guys. Greed. The greedy want more than they need. They want more than anyone could need. And they do not play nice and share with others. Case in point, the Japanese giant hornet. For this greedy bugger, honey is the root of all evil. With a wingspan of up to 3 inches, the Japanese giant hornet is one of the largest insects on Earth, and one of the deadliest. The hornet has a long 1/4-inch stinger that thrusts poisonous venom into its prey. Venom that dissolves human tissue. But humans aren't what the Japanese giant hornet craves most. What he wants, more than anything, is honey. And he's willing to kill for it. When a group of hornets finds an active European honeybee hive, like a greedy invading army, they mount an aerial assault. First, a small group of hornets target the colony and mark it. Now others follow. Just one hornet can slaughter up to 40 bees a minute with their scissor-like mandibles. Even with killing, the Japanese giant hornet is greedy, often killing the entire colony. Only then do they pillage the conquered nest for their prize. The stealing of every last drop of the sweet, sticky syrup. Hornets may be king of the hive, but our next greedy creature thinks a little bigger. You've heard the expression, "There's other fish in the sea?" Not if the humpback whale has anything to say about it. The 40-ton humpback whale is known as the peaceful giant of the sea. But that couldn't be further from the truth. To To their prey, humpbacks are greedy and deadly. They don't hunt fish. They hunt schools of fish, thousands and thousands at a time. Particularly when it comes to one of the whale's favorite foods, herring. The humpbacks implement an ingenious strategy called bubble netting. But what it is all-out war. On one side, a pod of humpbacks. On the other, a school of herring, unaware of what's about to hit them. A lead whale dives below and starts the attack, blowing fine bubbles from his blowhole. Now, the herring school becomes surrounded by a fine curtain of death. The bubbles work to corral the fish. To them, it's a wall, and they're trapped. Then, it's death from below. The humpbacks swim up the center of the bubble net with their mouths wide open, swallowing thousands of captive herring in one swooping gulp. To make sure the whale is just chowing fish, they expel water out through their baleen plates. Strong, flexible, bony structures in their mouths that act like filters. Water goes out, but the food stays in. Good to the last greedy drop. Humpbacks don't have anything to be envious about. They see what they want, and they take it. The same cannot be said for our next batch of sinners. Envy. Jealousy. Resentment. Desire for what is just out of reach. It's the sin of wanting someone else's stuff. And in the wild, there's no nice way to ask. The cuttlefish is a relative of the squid and the octopus, and is a cunning and effective hunter. But cuttlefish are unique. They use a form of envy, coveting the shape and color of things around them to survive. As the cuttlefish move around a reef, they seem to desire every pattern they come across. A rock, a piece of coral, the magic comes from its skin. 20 million cells of pigment attached to minuscule muscles. It may look like the worst case of envy ever, but there's a real purpose to this seemingly jealous behavior. When the cuttlefish is cloaked, its predators often never see them. Same goes for the cuttlefish's prey. This cuttlefish has spotted a tasty little meal. And because of its ability to blend in, it swims up undetected, grabs, and then gulps it down. For the cuttlefish, envy is survival. But for our next creature, the jacana, it's downright deadly. Jacanas are also known as Jesus birds for their ability to seemingly walk on water. But these birds are no saints. For jacanas, traditional sex roles are reversed. The men take care of the eggs, protect the nest, and even safely carry the baby birds under their wings when hatched. Meanwhile, the females roam about, looking for more males to add to her harem. Very often, she wants a male that already belongs to another female jacana. And here's where the deadly envy takes over. This lady jacana fancies this male, but he's guarding a nest of eggs. Meanwhile, his female is somewhere nearby. But our female jacana has to make him hers. She approaches the male, and he immediately gets defensive, making threatening displays and squawking at her. She swoops in and destroys all the eggs that he was taking care of, making the male hers. Green-eyed monster indeed. From seething with envy to simmering with deadly pride, our next group of sinners think the world of themselves and will kill to prove it. In the seas and skies, there's a popular belief that you are the bravest, the brightest, the best. It's the all too common sin of inflated self-esteem. Pride. It's the mistake of arrogance and vanity. And in the animal kingdom, it takes many deadly forms. Take as an example the blue-ringed octopus. It lives along the coast of South Australia. And this 8-armed animal is a bit touchy. Normally, the octopus appears gray or beige. But rub this predator the wrong way, and it performs the aquatic version of, let's take this outside. Instead of rolling up its sleeves to flash tattoos, the octopus unleashes 50 pulsating bright blue rings. It's pure, prideful intimidation. The meaning, back off, or something bad is coming your way. Unfortunately, not all animals listen. Take this crab. It's failed to heed our octopus's advice to get away. So the blue-ringed octopus pounces and injects it with a poison called tetrodotoxin. So powerful, just a small dose can completely paralyze and kill a human in less than 90 minutes. Then, the octopus tears apart the crab with its sharp bird-like beak and 8 arms. A lesson for fellow crabs. Don't mess with this prideful killer. In the waters of the Indian and Pacific Oceans lives the peacock mantis shrimp. And the name peacock, shrimp, pretty much says it all. It's small, as little as 1 inch long. And, like a peacock, it's very, very proud. Not of their amazing rainbow colors, but something else. Their houses. They make their homes out of dens and tunnels they dig in the sea floor. Trespass, and our mantis shrimp turns into the underwater equivalent of Mike Tyson. It readies its weapon, a muscular claw on its underside that can punch forward at the speed of a .22 caliber bullet. And hits. It doesn't matter if you're a predator or potential prey. A lesson this octopus is about to learn. It's gotten a bit too close to this mantis shrimp's home. The shrimp eyes the octopus warily. Is it too close? Yes. Blows from the claw hit with up to 200 pounds of force. stunning the octopus and scaring it off. But it didn't have to end this way. If only this octopus had kept his eyes on his own property. It's the most dangerous bird in the world. It lives in Australia, and it has no shame. She's called a cassowary. This 5 feet tall, flightless omnivore looks like a throwback to the dinosaur age. Like a prehistoric killer turkey. On each foot are razor-sharp 5-inch claws that can disembowel a human with a single swipe. The cassowary lived a pretty good life for centuries. The problem started when people showed up. With suburban sprawl, the once self-sufficient animal relies more and more on humans for food. What we have, the cassowary wants. In fact, full of not quite earned pride, the cassowary thinks she deserves it, demanding food from any suburban she runs into. And if she doesn't get what she wants, let's say her pride gets injured. As this man found out when he tried to approach. While this Aussie was well armed, others are not so lucky. And running away won't save you. They've been clocked at over 30 miles per hour, which is why most in Australia know, do not mess with a prideful cassowary. We're 6 sins down and just 1 to go. And we've saved our lustiest for last. Finally, we bring you nature's naughtiest sin. For these creatures, getting down can be very deadly. Lust. The anglerfish encompasses many species. They all look different. They all look a little crazy. And none of them look at all lusty. In fact, the anglerfish's appearance is so unapproachable, it doesn't look like anything should get near it. And if you're prey, that's good advice. Named after the long dorsal fin sprouting from its head, this skilled predator uses her wiggling angler as bait to lure others near. Interested prey are entranced. And then, lunch. But when it comes to lusty behavior, the female anglerfish uses an entirely different type of lure on her mates. Powerless to her charms, the male gives it everything he has. And we mean that literally. Male anglers are small and start searching for a female soon after birth. They use a specialized organ in the front of their head to search for traces of her pheromones. When he finds a female, he bites into her and doesn't let go. Ever. Enzymes in his mouth fuse his body with hers. And within a few weeks, he shrivels up, leaving nothing but a pair of testicles. He's given it everything he's got. Often even his eyes are gone. Meanwhile, anytime the female gets lustful, she can have sex with his testicles fused to her body. As baffling and bizarre as this mating ritual is, one thing is abundantly clear. Love is blind. In the wilds of South America lives a lusty legend. The anaconda. The largest snake in the world, with a libido to match. Anaconda can grow up to 30 feet long and over 500 pounds. They get so big because they eat so much. And when they find something tasty, anacondas eat anything from wild pigs to caimans. They kill by squeezing. Long, slow, diabolical squeezes. You see, squeezing is what anacondas do best, even when it comes to sex. When a male wants to mate, which is often, he flicks out his tongue to sense the female's sexual scent. Once he's found her, the lovemaking gets a bit freaky. Anacondas form breeding balls. Giant serpentine orgies where up to 12 males wrap around a single female. Tickling her with foreplay until she's ready to receive. But it's the length of these orgies, not their size, that really puts them on this list. This marathon of lovemaking can last up to 4 weeks. But at least everyone survives the orgy. The same cannot be said for our final sinner, the gargantuan and grotesque elephant seal. They have a reputation as sexual predators. Their lustful behavior is so legendary, the males are rumored to mate with anything they can find. Even penguins. But their mating process is highly ritualized. To breed, the males, known as bulls, migrate to beaches every year and stake out their territory. The goal is to find just the right spot to build a harem of 40 or 50 lady seals. This massive love nest is called the rookery, and as it fills up, it becomes one wild place. Savage fights occur between the bulls over territory, tons of blubber bashing against one another. The winner gets first pick of the ladies. Then, when the bull is ready to go, nothing gets in the way of his lust, not even baby seal pups, which he'll often trample and kill trying to get to a female. When he reaches the female, he immediately mounts her. While most females are large enough to endure the crushing 4-ton weight of the male, some are not. And it's common for a male to crush a female to death during mating. For the elephant seal, there's no repentance for this lustful sinner. From the angry birds of Australia to the gratuitous gluttony of the tiger shark, they're the ultimate. Nature's most sinful creatures in the sea and sky. And rest assured, as creatures continue to swim the oceans and roam the air, the sinning will continue on.